Now, our northern forests are really having a problem with invasive species, things like garlic mustard and all kinds of buckthorn and oriental bittersweet. All those things are actually coming in and taking over. Now, one of the real main problems is garlic mustard. Garlic mustard it's kind of a cool plant. It was brought over because it tastes like garlic, and people would use it in salads as an herbs. But unfortunately, it thrives in the forest. It takes over, and because it kind of tastes like garlic, insects don't really like it. And so if there's no insects, they'll make a thick stand on the forest floor. If the insects aren't there, then the birds and the things that would eat the insects aren't there. And so it goes right up on the food chain. And the other thing, buckthorn is another one that kind of just makes everything really thick stands, and it's hard for the animals. Now, Donatella here is our wood turtle. And wood turtles live in the forest, and they are actually threatened in New York State because they like really clear, fast-moving streams. And unfortunately, people are destroying their habitat, clearing down to the streams, and just generally making it hard for wood turtles to get around. Now, if you'll notice, Donatello here is missing a leg. And one of the other problems that's affecting wood turtles is there's things called human-subsidized animals, which are basically just animals like raccoons and skunks that really like humans because they figured out that humans equal food. And so as human populations grow and as we expand into the woods, raccoons and skunks are following us because we have food. Raccoons love wood turtles. Wood turtle eggs, sometimes they'll lay their eggs. They don't even lay their eggs until they're 15 to 20 years old. And then there's whole years where not a single egg will hatch because of predation by raccoons and foxes and skunks and things like that. Now, raccoons also will try to eat a full-grown turtle. And if you look at Donatella here, you'll notice she's missing a leg. Somebody found her, and a raccoon, even though turtles go in their shell like that, raccoons have long fingers, and they've learned to be able to reach in there and pull it out. And Donatella was a victim of a raccoon attack, but somebody found her, and we fixed up her leg, and now she lives here where she doesn't have to worry about it. Wood turtles, like I said, they like fast-moving streams, and you can see it doesn't affect her at all, not having a leg. She still gets around really well. They eat all kinds of insects and fruits and mushrooms and things like that, and they're going to live along the edges of the streams, or sometimes they'll move further up into the forest to get more food. And the cool thing that wood turtles can do is they will do what's called drumming. So they're going to stand on the ground and they're going to rock back and forth, kind of stamping their feet. And when they do that, to the worms under the ground, it sounds kind of like it's raining. And what do worms do when it rains? They come out of the ground. So they come out of the ground, and what's waiting for them is a hungry turtle. Do you guys think turtles can take their shells off? They actually can't. They are connected right to their shells, and their shells grow with them. Now, Donatella here is probably about 25. They're going to live to be 50 to 60 years old, so they live a really long time. And as they grow, they put on a ring here. So you can actually, just like a tree, you can count the lines on their shell, and it'll kind of show you a little bit of how, not exactly how old they are, but kind of how many times they've grown. When they're young, they're going to grow 3 or 4 times a year. As they get older, they'll maybe grow once every couple of years. But it gives you an indication of how old they are. All right. So if you guys want to help with turtles, if you live in the forest or you have a stream in your forest, make sure you don't clear right down to the edge of the stream because they like to have the brush and stuff along the edges of the stream. Just leave it a little bit of buffer along the edge of the stream so that the stream can stay cold, because if it's cleared right out, it'll warm up faster. And they need a nice place to hide, so that brush gives them a nice place to hide. All right, well, thank you. Next time you're in the woods, see if you can find a wood turtle. They're really hard to find.
Hey everyone, so thank you to Donatello and Mary for that wonderful explanation on invasive species in the forest and learn all about wood turtles. Amazing. Well, for our journal is a little different this time, and we're going to do a concept map. Now, a concept map is really fun to do with other people. So if you can get some friends or your family, and what you do is you put the main topic. For this, I put invasives in the forest, and then everybody just, there's no right or wrong. You just say whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be an invasive. It could be, well, birds live in the forest, or ferns grow in the forest. And then there's some other invasives. Some people might know the invasives. You will know because you watched the video and you'll know what they are. So we have 4 other people. That's why we're wearing our mask right now. And we'll start. So Mary may ask a question, and the first question is invasives in the forest. And whatever comes to your mind, there's no right or wrong, and I'll write it down.
Okay, so first of all, if we talk about, maybe think about some things that live in the forest. What would be some plants and animals that you might find in the forest?
Japanese beetle. Okay.
Japanese beetle, that's a good one. How about pine trees? They would be in the forest.
Ferns.
Ferns.
Rabbits. Rabbits. Possums. Possums. How do you spell possum?
O-T-P. O-P-P.
Oh, see?
And you're not even grading on spelling. So
No,
it doesn't
no
matter.
grading on spelling, especially when I'm writing upside down. And
How about deer, right? We'll see deer in the forest. Tons of songbirds in the forest. Ticks in the forest. And actually, if you think about it, if you remember back to when I was talking about the opossum, what did we say opossums like to eat, right? Ticks. So that's definitely a thing. So now those are all the things that you might find living in the forest. How about invasives? Who remembers what I talked about, what invasive species you might find in a forest? There was garlic mustard. There's oriental bittersweet, buckthorn, morning glory, which is sometimes called bindweed, which is exactly what they do.
what I'm missing when someone said, oh.
Someone said, what about, there's the emerald ash borer, Asian longhorn beetle. That's a bad one.
What's that? Big giant hogsweed?
Oh, giant hogweed, yeah. That's on the edges of the forest. That's really bad.
Okay, so that's good. So we filled up our page, and now what this does is help you, the learner who learned all about invasive species in the forest. You can teach others, and it's a good way for you to remember. And then by teaching, you're spreading the word, and that's what your job is to do. All our jobs, to be responsible for our neighbors and our community. And this is one way to do it. So the next fun thing to do is take a color, and so what lives in the woods, rabbits, pine trees, possum, ferns, deer, songbirds. Okay? Yeah, but those are ticks invasive? No?
They're one of those
nuisance.
things that are human subsidized, like we talked about with the raccoons.
And then what is the invasive? So garlic, hogweed, and so you just go across. And now we've created this concept map, and you can connect the colors together, and it'll help you either present or remember. It sort of sorts out, it gives you a very good convergent way of sorting out and learning and remembering what invasive species in the forest is.
Right, and then you can actually take another color if you wanted to, and you could figure out which animals are affected by which invasive species. So the garlic mustard really affects the songbirds because of the insects. The emerald ash borer would affect the trees, or the Asian longhorn beetle.
I don't know if I put that one in,
Oh.
but I can.
Would affect the pine trees, and just how everything affects, and you can connect the ticks and the opossum, because opossums like to eat ticks, and just you'll find out as it goes around that everything is connected, just like we've kind of been talking about.